You probably saw the score, but what I'm going to show you in this video are the details you didn't see on TV, moments that went unnoticed by the cameras, but explain how a single play changed everything in Vikings versus Browns. It was the moment when the confidence of an entire team came down to a look between the quarterback and the receiver, and the result was a comeback nobody expected. The title says that this play changed the game, and today you'll understand exactly why and how this almost invisible technical detail redefined what it means to play with a Purple Heart. The game in London seemed balanced, but something different was happening behind the stats. Every snap told a story, and a precise read by Carson Wentz at the right moment completely turned the narrative. The detail that changed everything wasn't luck, it was execution. And today's video will reveal every part of that sequence, the reasoning, the adjustment, and the impact. And it all starts here. From the first snap, Minnesota showed they brought more to the field than just a game plan. There was a response to the pressure surrounding the team. The narrative of the matchup began with tension. The Browns' defense, considered #1 in the NFL, forcing mistakes, and the Vikings needed something off-script. And that's exactly what happened. The play nobody expected came in the first quarter when running back Cam Akers received the snap, faked the run, and threw a perfect pass to Josh Oliver in the end zone. A 32-yard trick play that tied the game and showed that Kevin O'Connell had cards up his sleeve. The reaction of the fans in London was instant. The stadium rose, and the sound of "skull" echoed like a warning. What seemed like just a bold play was actually the first move of a strategy O'Connell had been rehearsing to dismantle Cleveland's aggression. Later in the video, we'll reveal how that same tactical pattern reappeared in the comeback drive. From there, the game turned into a battle of endurance. Carson Wentz, with a patched-up offensive line, kept the team alive with short passes to Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hockenson, while Jordan Mason tried to establish the run against a Brown wall. Even so, the offense seemed stuck in short drives and punt exchanges. The defense held the team together, and it was the defense that began to turn the narrative. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins paved the way with a sack in the second quarter, a blow that slowed the rookie Dillon Gabriel's rhythm and stalled a fast-moving offense. When Andre Smith converted the field goal that kept the game at 10-7, the score seemed modest, but the emotional control was beginning to shift. At halftime, Minnesota made the necessary adjustments. Routes were shortened, blocks shifted, and most importantly, the communication between Wentz and his receivers became key. The third quarter began with a solid drive, marked by decisive runs from Mason and a precise pass to Addison, opening space until at the 3-yard line, the running back crossed the defense and turned the game to 14-10. Dominance seemed near, but Cleveland responded immediately. Dillon Gabriel found David Njoku in the end zone and put the score back at 17-14. The balance was absolute. That's when the Vikings defense transformed. Jonathan Greenard, Harrison Smith, and Jeff Okudah alternated pressures and tackles that threw Cleveland off their rhythm. 4 consecutive Browns drives ended in punts, and this silent dominance by the defense was the prelude to the final sequence. Each stop was a spark, setting the stage for the moment that would give meaning to the title of this video. In a few moments, you'll see the exact play where Wentz and Jordan Addison noticed a detail imperceptible on the broadcast cameras, and that's what changed everything. With just over 2 minutes remaining, the clock marked desperation. Wentz received the snap at the 32-yard line, completed a pass to Hockenson in the middle, and another to Jefferson on the right. With each play, the pocket held a second longer. When the clock reached 1:35, Jefferson caught a 21-yard pass that ignited the stadium. The energy shifted. It was the march of the comeback. Wentz stayed calm, Addison repositioned to the right, and the Browns' defense showed an almost imperceptible movement. The safety stepped inside. That's when everything happened. Wentz changed his look, Addison understood the code, and the route was adjusted in real time. A fraction of a second was enough. Snap, read, pass, 12 yards, touchdown, 21-17, comeback. The stadium erupted. O'Connell raised his arms, and the team celebrated a play that seemed simple but hid the detail that redefined the game. That small movement by the safety and Wentz's silent red explained the essence of the title of this video, the detail that changed everything. Addison, who had started the game quietly, became the hero of the day. Not just for the catch, but for his connection with his quarterback at a moment when mental precision mattered more than physical. Spoiler: Next, you'll see how this communication between Wentz and Addison didn't start in London, but in the training sessions in Egan, and how this type of adjustment has been a key factor in the offense since Wentz arrived. The defense closed out the game firmly. Rookie Gabriel still tried to advance the field, but Okudah ended the match with the final tackle, securing the victory and sealing a script that seemed cinematic. In the locker room, Kevin O'Connell summed up the feeling in one phrase. It was the kind of game that defines who you are when everything is on the line. In the end, what many saw as just another close win was actually a statement from the team. The Vikings showed they know how to win with technique, emotion, and reading the game. The detail that changed the game was more than a route. It was the reflection of a mindset that is solidifying. In London, Minnesota not only beat the Browns but proved that even on the road, they know how to recognize the exact moment to strike and turn a simple pass into something unforgettable. The second half of this game was not just a series of plays, it was an emotional and tactical construction that culminated in the detail that changed everything. When the fourth quarter began, the Vikings were behind and needed something to break the pattern of Cleveland's defense, which had until then controlled the pace with constant pressure and disciplined coverage. And it was precisely in this scenario that Kevin O'Connell's mindset appeared. He maintained confidence in Carson Wentz and urged calm. The team responded with one of the most precise drives of the season, where every play was designed to move the chains, not chase a miracle. The difference is that this time, the miracle came naturally. The final drive started with a series of short passes. Wentz distributed the ball between Hockenson, Jefferson, and Naylor, alternating routes that forced Cleveland's linebackers to retreat. The offensive line even improvised, performed flawlessly at the critical moment. Blake Brandel, playing out of position, held the interior, giving the quarterback time to breathe. Jordan Mason, in turn, kept the offense balanced with short runs that helped control the clock. Everything was clicking. But what few noticed was the level of silent communication on the field. Wentz looked to Addison and with just a subtle gesture adjusted the route. This connection, which seemed casual to those watching on TV, was the result of repetitions and specific training. This same type of read that secured the game-winning touchdown is something the Vikings have been perfecting since preseason practices and is expected to be a central part of the offense in the coming weeks. When Addison crossed the line and entered the end zone, it wasn't just the game-winning touchdown. It was the materialization of the work of a group that has been adjusting even through adversity. The defense shortly after sealed the story. Jonathan Greenard and Jeff Okudah closed the edges, forcing Gabriel to throw under pressure. Okudah's final tackle was symbolic, firm, clean, and definitive. It was the final point of a performance that united all three phases of the team: offense, defense, and special teams in perfect sync. The truth is, the score doesn't tell the whole story. This win wasn't just about scoring more than the Browns, but about proving that Minnesota can react, adjust, and win even on the road. And within this narrative, the detail few noticed, the adjustment between Wentz and Addison, was the guiding thread. O'Connell highlighted this after the game, saying, "The trust between quarterback and receivers is what separates good teams from great ones." He knew the play was bigger than a single action. It was a message. Shortly, we'll show how this type of execution was decisive in other recent games and what it represents for the rest of the season. With this victory, the Vikings reach a turning point. The defense, which had faced criticism in the first weeks, showed solidity and versatility, forcing mistakes and controlling the clock. The offense, previously inconsistent, found its identity in quick passes and smart adjustments. And the fans, who filled the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, left with the feeling that the team had regained the competitive heart that defines the purple culture. What impressed most in this game was the emotional balance. In other moments of the season, Minnesota struggled to maintain composure in tight games. This time, there was no panic, only execution. Wentz showed experience, managing the clock with surgical precision, and the defense stayed calm even when the Browns attempted the final drive. This type of composure is what separates a rebuilding team from a team ready to compete seriously. Another point worth highlighting is the performance of the wide receivers. Justin Jefferson was once again the catalyst, with receptions that opened up the field and forced Cleveland to pull back coverage, creating space for Addison to shine. Hockenson was also essential, serving as an escape valve under pressure and converting critical third downs. This offensive versatility made the Vikings' attack less predictable, creating multiple threats on the field. And we cannot forget the role of the defense in the fourth quarter. The Browns had 4 consecutive drives ending in punts. Greenard and Hargrave dominated the trenches, while Okudah and Murphy Jr. closed down the passing lanes. This defensive consistency not only gave the offense time to react, but also showed that the group is capable of sustaining victories even against physical attacks. O'Connell and Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator, found the balance between pressure and discipline, turning the end of the game into a lesson in tactical execution. The most remarkable part is that the insane detail in the title is not just a play, but a mindset. It is the ability to see what others do not see, to turn the simple into something decisive. That's what Carson Wentz did. That's what Jordan Addison executed. And that's what made this victory something Vikings fans will remember for a long time. The camera may have focused on the celebration, but the true turning point was that glance exchange between the quarterback and the receiver seconds before the snap. There was the detail. There was the trust. There was the game-changing in front of everyone, yet seen by few. Minnesota left London not only with a victory on the scoreboard, but with the certainty that they have something special. The connection between experience and youth, between planning and improvisation, showed that this group can face any challenge. The trip may have been long, but the message was clear. The Vikings are back on the right track. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.